Now, what if you go overboard with willpower even after starting small and burn yourself out? This is the situation that life coaches are terrified of. What if you simply don't have the energy to do it? What if you have a headache? While I am not promising this as a panacea for all action stopping elements, I do believe it is a single best action based strategy. If anything can work, this is. Scenario 2, you don't physically feel like exercising because you're tired. Physical barrier. We think of tiredness as a physical barrier, but it's not a mental barrier. Having no energy results means you have zero motivations. Having no energy usually means you have zero motivations. Overcome this exact scenario countless times with many habits. For example, more than 100 words of this book were written while I had a headache. Not just that, but I was tired and wanted to go to sleep, and I was completely unmotivated to write, had very little energy. I did my 50 words anyway, which grew into 100 somehow. In many ways, it's harder not to do a single push up than to do one. The challenge is so easy that your pride enters the equation. I may be stubborn and exhausted right now, but come on, I can do that. I encourage you to frequently remind yourself of the absurdity of not being able to meet your mini habit requirement. I was productive with a headache because I started small. It seems literally impossible at first based on how I felt. And in the past, there was no way I would even attempt to ride in those circumstances with such a great excuse that I would have cut my losses and give the standard promises to myself to do it later. As I age, I realize that now is yesterday later, and that later is a bad plan. It was the perfect storm to headache late at night and that tired. I swear my bed was giving me pick up lines. Your REM cycle is beautiful, Stephen. It said my glazed eyes gazed lustfully at the warm covers, and I replied in a minute, honey. My requirements were so easy that I decided to take a minute to meet it, and then quite instead I wrote 1,000 words. I was astonished. It was one of those moments when I realized how powerful this life strategy is. Can you see how many mini habits can make you feel unstoppable? Can you see why I'm confident that mini habit can help nearly anyone add good habits? If I can perform in those circumstances when I have weak willpower, then this strategy is good one. The basis of this strategy rests not on my unique experience but on the science of willpower. My experience coincides with the science. Many habits are designed for many minimum willpower exertion and maximum momentum, the perfect scenario, fitting minimum habits into your life. Are you busy? Do you frequently feel overwhelmed with everything you wanted and must do? A concern you should have with any system is how it fits into your life. Many habit books wisely recommend that you only pursue one habit at a time. This is due to our limited willpower being unable to handle too many habits at once. But you want to dedicate 6 months to one area of their life and ignore the other things they want to improve. Habits are so valuable that it would be worth it, but it's frustrating to only focus on writing when you want to get in great shape too. These tensions between your current focus and other areas you want to improve can derail you. This is a huge, largely ignored problem that has been without a solution until now. Many habits are so small and willpower efficient that you can have multiple habits at once, even busy and overwhelmed because overwhelmed people can succeed with multiple many habits. Look at many habits as your day foundation. These are things you must get done, but they only take a few minutes total to do. After that, you can do anything you want, whether it's bonus reps or other activities, completely flexible to fit your current lifestyle. But it's the crowbar of personal development because it can leverage an initially small habit in your life into something much bigger. The mini habits difference. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. Sun Tzu, the art of war. What make mini habit different from other every other system out there claiming to change your life? How can this change improve habit development and personal growth over traditional method? These are fair questions to ask. So here are the answers. Many habits can compete with your existing habits. Studies on people attempting to change existing habits have found discouraging results. It turns out that once a habit gets strong enough, even the strongest intentions have a tough time turning it around. In the context of a day, you will do many more habitual behavior than it seems, and these habits can interfere with your attempt to add in a few healthy habits. When many habits trounces the other habits programs is in competitiveness when your attempt to introduce a new behavior. It's like trying to enter a weightlifting competition without training. There is a ton of competition there's already, and even worse, the competition is a proven experience and strong than you. Most habit programs go wrong here. They conceive you that you can compete head to head with these stronger habits right away. Sorry, I got $400 riding on smoking and watching TV. They tell you to introduce a huge change like going from not writing much at all to 200 words per day or being on the couch to exercising for an hour every day. The problem with this is the cost and willpower. It's a math equation that doesn't work out in your favor unless you already have a strong self-discipline muscles. If not, you'll suffer burnout and I'll win $400. The brain resists big change. Have you ever heard of people saying that you just need to get your foot in the door for employment opportunities? Many habits are that same concept, but instead of getting into a company, we are talking about your brain. I think of the prefrontal cortex as having a spending allowance before the automated part takes over for every task. The subconscious brain looks at what you are asking of it and your changes you willpower to get into the control room. You're only allowed to ask for much manual control per day. But once you are in, your mini habits are low willpower Trojan horses that can leverage their easy access into the brain control room into big results. I noticed this when I did that first push up. It was the same physical action for how I started every workout, but I did feel the burden of a workout because I didn't ask my brain for the whole thing. Small steps and willpower are a winning team. The perfect team is personal development is small steps and willpower. As long as you have enough willpower for an action, you can take You can take that action. Small steps require little no willpower. So it's like having unlimited willpower. You can get yourself to do just about anything. If you guide yourself along in a super small step, try it. If you resist walking up to a girl to ask her out, decide to move your left foot forward and then your right foot in her direction. You'll get there and she'll ask you, why you were walking so funny? Icebreaker. Life update example. After 3 hours of basketball today, I was exhausted. My brain and body told me there was no way I could ride. I was falling asleep. I had no willpower, but I aimed for 50 words, which was too small to resist. And once again, I'm well beyond my target now and awake many times. When you are tired, engaging your mind or body will wake you up. Other methods will tell you it's okay to let up too soon. The common myth is that you can establish a habit in 21 or 30 days. Some books are wholly based around this false concept. The truth is a bit uglier and harder to predict. 18 to 254 days until habit formation, depending on the habit and the person. Many habits don't have a specific end date, and because we don't know how long it will take to form the habit, instead we'll look for a sign that the behavior is habit. If your experience is like mine, you could end up developing a bigger habit than you plan. My mini habits of writing 50 words a day has resulted in writing more like 200 words per day, to not every day. Mini habit increase your self efficacy. Self efficacy isn't a term you hear much unless you read behavioral science studies. Self efficacy is your belief in your ability to influence an outcome. In a 2-year randomized trial, baseline self efficacy was shown to have a significant impact on exercise adoption and maintenance. This applies to people who wanted to exercise as well as those who need to exercise for medical purpose. Of course, we all should exercise to stay healthy, as researchers note in their review. Patient compliance with exercise prescription is more likely to be successful if exercise self-efficacy is assist and enhance. Self-efficacy helps us achieve goal and create habit, but psychologist Albert Bandura clarifies that expectation alone will not produce desired performance if the component capabilities are lacking. Believing in yourself isn't enough. Lacking the baseline self-efficacy required for success, however, is extremely common in people who suffer from depression, weak willpower, and repeated failures. If you expect to fail, positive results are hard to come by. Many habits are a self-efficacy generating machine, and importantly, you can get started successfully with zero self-efficacy. Successes will train your daily successes will train you to have high self efficacy. How can you not believe in your ability to do one push up per day? You can do it. In between these two sentences and this amount to strengthening your self efficacy through practice, many habits double as training for believing in yourself. Remember, your brain latches one to any repetition you throw at it. So, a problem many people develop is an expectation of failing to reach their goals over time. This crushes their self efficacy because it's hard to believe that next time will be different, especially if you are using the same strategy that failed last time. If you have been feeling hopeless, this is exactly what has happened to you, but you can do it. I'm not being motivational, I've been logical. You can literally make positive progress in your life. To think otherwise is irrational nonsense, and it comes from training yourself to believe you can't. Mini habits are the perfect way to start over. No longer will you be intimidated by massive goals. No longer will you be attacked with feelings of guilt and inadequacy for failing short. No, this time you are going to be succeeding on a daily basis. The victorious may be small, but one small victory to a defeated mind is a big victory. Right now, you might be wondering how can one push-ups a day or writing 50 words a day help me? That's not enough progress to matter. First, that's wrong. When any small behavior becomes a habit, it matters a lot. A habit is the strongest behavior foundation a human can have. It's better to have the habit of one push up per day than to do 30 push ups every once in a while. Only habit can be built stronger and higher. Also, you are free and encouraged to exceed your target mark. I blew my target out of the water on a daily basis now, but it's only because I must write a measly 50 words a day that I am inclined to write 200 2,000 words. Before this, I didn't write at all. One on some day, it was my ambition to write a lot that made me write very little. Now I write at least 3x as much as before. It's because I'm no longer intimidated to start. I love my safety net too. I can tell the day a success if I take a few minutes to write 50 words. This is so empowering. Many times I have planned to just write my 50 words and ended up writing 3,000 words. As I mentioned earlier, I once wrote 1,000 words with a headache and no energy. I felt like Superman after doing that. I looked back on the time I was completely healthy and energetic but wasted time, and then saw what I did with a headache and no energy, and got even more excited to share this book with the world. Many habits give you autonomy. In a 2012 job satisfaction survey of 411 people, 65% of American and Canadian respondents said they were unsatisfied or somewhat unsatisfied with their jobs. I think it's partially because of the traditional management philosophy that aims to control employees rather than enable them. Other surveys have found autonomy and or the feelings that you have control and you can make decision. Is a primary factor in job satisfaction. A Denmark survey conducted by the European Worker Conditions Observatory found that almost 90% of the male employees and almost 85% of the female employees with high job decision latitude are satisfied to a high degree, while only while only about 56% of those with low job decision latitude report a high degree of job satisfaction. This is a specific example of a universal truth. When a person feels uncontrolled, they shut down. People hate it. Perhaps this is because autonomy is strongly associated with the freedom.